The Red Bastard of Slanich. I'll tell you about the Red Bastard if you want. Funny thing is, he wasn't a bastard at the start, not even close. Men don't start rotten. Something makes them that way. Pressure, pain, a lord's bad decisions. Or the gods just deciding today's the day they ruin a man who doesn't deserve it. This one's about Sir Marn Talmas. Most hated man in Slanich now, spit on, cursed, blamed for everything from a bad harvest to babies being born sideways. They see him as a traitor, a butcher, a demon in melted steel. But he wasn't always that way, not even half close. There was a time most boys in Slanich wanted to be him, and most girls wanted to bed him, and most lords wanted him protecting their gates. I remember the first time I ever heard his name. I was younger, not much, but a bit. Some drunk on a pier said, "Talmas rode down 3 raiders by himself." Another said, "He beat a sellsword twice his age in tourney steel." Another said he once carried Lord Ronley out of a burning granary during a riot. All that hero shit. And truth be told, most of it was real. Sir Marn Talmas grew up inside Slanich's walls, not outside in the piss-soaked shacks like most of us. Born under a real roof, raised proper. Son of a lesser noble family with more pride than coin. His father died young. Sickness, I heard. And his mother served the household of Ronley, making sure the bedding was clean and the chamber pots emptied, and the high-born brats didn't choke on their own toys. Lord Ronley noticed the boy early. Marn was tall for his age, broad, handsome enough to make real nobles jealous. Good shoulders, straight back, quick to learn, quicker to obey. Ronley took him under his wing, treated him like a son, fed him, armed him, trained him, knighted him the moment he was of age. Fought like a bastard possessed too. Never got winded, never backed down, never hesitated. Didn't matter who stood in front of him, brigand, raider, or some foreign dog with a curved sword. Talmas fought until something stopped him, and usually nothing did. He earned his place, I'll give him that. And somewhere along the line, he got the things men like him always get if they live long enough. A manor inside the city walls, a wife from a proper noble house, 2 daughters, a son, servants bowing when he walked, men saluting, and a squire, Istan, loyal as a hound and twice as eager. Talmas treated that boy like kin. They hunted together, trained together, ate together. I heard the boy slept in the manor more nights than not, given his own little room, clean bedding, warm meals, the kind of treatment most squires never see. People loved Sir Marn, genuinely, because he played the part, because he deserved it back then. And then the war came. Slanich sits hard against the sea, you know that. A fat, crooked jewel on the coast. Everything that floats eventually stops there. Traders, whores, smugglers, starving fishermen, soldiers of fortune, and on rare years, invaders. The invaders that year came from the east, some foreign kingdom that worshipped golden lions and shaved their heads slick. They wore curved blades, wicked bastards, sharp enough to cut bone without stopping. Their helms were gold-painted beasts with open, snarling mouths. Looked ridiculous up close, but they fought like men who'd never learned fear properly. They sailed a fleet big enough to block the sunrise, hit the coastline fast, burned half the outer settlements before Ronley's scouts even brought word. The defense of Slanich's coast wasn't a battle, it was a fucking storm. Steel and fire and screams all swirling together until you couldn't tell which way was south. Slanich wasn't ready, but it had a few men who were born for work like that. Sir Marn Talmas led the countercharge. I wasn't there, but I've met enough men who were. Same story every time. He rode headlong into a tide of gold helms, cutting until his arm went numb. Pulled wounded men behind him while fighting 3 at once. Held the right flank when it was collapsing. Bled from 3 places and didn't slow. Some say he personally killed the enemy commander. Others say he broke through their formation so clean that the whole line buckled. Maybe both. Doesn't matter. What matters is this. The invaders broke. Their fleet burned. Slanich won. But a few of those gold-helmed bastards slipped through the defenses somehow. There are a dozen theories. A bribed servant, a secret tunnel, a traitor guard. Nobody ever found the truth. Those few who got in murdered Ronley's mistress, and her servants, and 2 visiting lords from the west, and an older lady related to one of the minor houses. Didn't matter how many Talmas killed on the beach. The ones he missed were the only ones Ronley cared about. The Lord changed after that. The decent part of him got stripped clean. Like something rotten crawled up from his gut and chewed its way into his head. Lord Ronley didn't seek justice. He sought torment, the kind that drags out the screams. He had every captive dragged into the square. Men, boys, didn't matter. Locked them in stocks, flayed their backs raw, cut tendons one by one. Had dogs chew on them while the city watched. Kept some alive for days, pouring boiling wine down their throats so they'd last longer. Some of the worm company passed through Slanich around that time. I heard stories straight from a few brothers. Said the whole square smelled like burnt hair and cooked meat for a week. But Ronley didn't stop when the foreigners died. Grief turned into habit. Habit turned into hunger. He started punishing his own people, tax evaders first, then drunkards, then anyone who annoyed him. He'd force kneelings, lashings, drownings, public humiliations, and eventually worse things, unspeakable things. Things you only hear rumored when men get too drunk for their own good. Sir Marn Talmas tried to pull him back. Everyone knows that. Talmas pleaded in private at first, told Ronley he was hurting innocents, that the city was terrified, that the gods would see this as madness, not justice. Ronley nodded, agreed, promised to calm down, and then he invited the Talmas family to the keep. If there's one thing the gods hate most, it's a happy family. Doesn't matter how clean your hands are, they'll drown the whole lot of you if the mood strikes. Ronley had Talmas come inside the keep with his wife and children. Warm smiles, guards standing easy, wine poured, food served. Then the doors locked, bolts slammed, shutters closed. Ronley gave the order so casually it made the whole thing worse, told his soldiers to bring forth the sentence. Before Talmas could blink, his wife and children were seized, dragged out screaming. Talmas fought back, cracked 2 men's skulls, broke another's arm. But there were too many. Dozens, maybe more. They made him watch. I won't tell you the details, not because I care, but because even I don't want to picture it again. The screams were heard clear into the lower district. They were children. That's all anyone needs to know. And after every horror was done, after Talmas had nothing left to break except his own bones from struggling, Ronley ordered him put inside his own armor, strapped in, bolted shut, nails driven through the cracks, steel plates heated over coals until they glowed. And then the armor itself was set aflame. They burned Sir Marn Talmas alive in front of half the city. But the bastard didn't die. His squire, Istan, the boy he treated like a son, fought his way through the guards, stabbed 3, cut another's throat, tackled the executioner into the pyre, then dragged Talmas out of the fire by the shoulders, burned his own hands to the bone doing it, pulled Talmas behind a toppled wagon and pried open the warped helmet visor. What came out wasn't a man anymore. It was a thing of black flesh and charred muscle, armor fused to skin, the smell of cooked bone coming off him like smoke. Talmas didn't speak, couldn't. His throat was burned raw. All he could make were guttural sounds, awful, ragged animal noises, but he could still fight. Ronley's men rushed them, spears, halberds, shields, a full file of trained household guards. Talmas tore through them like he wasn't even human. His sword, still red from the flame, split a man from shoulder to spine. Another he crushed with a backhanded blow. 3 more he disemboweled in less than a breath. Armor steamed, hissing as blood hit the hot plates. The warped metal dug into his skin with every move. Didn't slow him, didn't matter. Istan begged him to run. Talmas didn't hear a word, or didn't care. He went room to room, hall to hall, hunting Ronley. Found Ronley's children instead, the Lord's own brood hiding behind overturned tables. Talmas slaughtered them without hesitation, still screaming that burned animal scream, still glowing faintly from the heat locked in the armor. He killed his way out of the keep, through the upper markets, through the stockades, trampling stalls, barging through crowds, leaving a trail of steaming corpses behind him. I heard the stones of Slanich were black with soot and silver with fat by the time he reached the main gate. And then he fled with Istan, into the hills, into the dark, into the part of the world where men like him go to finish dying. Except he didn't die. Not then. Some say he's still alive, still armored. Still cooking inside that blackened steel, still hunting. That's the red bastard of Slanich for you. Sir Marn Talmas, a traitor knight. Good man once, better than most. Lived loyal. Slanich burned the wrong man. Now it's got a monster walking around with a noble's corpse for a heart and a furnace for a soul.